Good evening. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. It's 8 o'clock as Phil winds down from our, watch along what I did and a disappointing result. It's now time for the prediction show on a Thursday night. I have the high, can't even say it now. The High Press podcast lads, Carl and Rob, are going to join us. An Albion fan and a Villa fan. It's a strange mixed match, but we'll get their views of the Premier League fixtures for this week. But it's 8 o'clock and it's time for your prediction show.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Like we always say, guys, if you're watching, get your comments in every time we go through the games, chuck results in what you think the score's going to be. We want to know your prediction as well as mine, Carl's and Rob's on the show tonight. Let's get the boys in. They're probably going to be more upbeat than I'm going to sit here tonight, but we'll get through this one. How you doing, Carl? You all right, mate?
Yeah, very good. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Rob,
Brilliant.
how we doing, mate?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, feeling good. Very good.
Forward to it. Let's get straight into it. Some massive games this weekend going through the league. I was having a look this morning. Some massive games, but we'll start off in the order they'll come out as. And Man United versus Everton, two teams that have really been flying this season, and Man United been clicking most of the season. A couple of dodgy results last weekend, especially, and fair play to Villa. You got the rub of the green with the old VAR decision. With the who stands in front of the goalkeeper and who doesn't stand in front of the goalkeeper malarkey, because no one knows the rules anymore. But Carl, what's your thoughts and what you think the score is going to be in this one, mate?
Yeah, it's an intriguing game. Obviously, United have had two losses back to back now in the Premier League, and both at home as well. So their home form has been particularly patchy of late. I actually think this is a game which might benefit Everton a little bit more. I know they're a team that, like under Benitez, I like to stick in there and defend quite deep and then counter attack with the wide players in Townsend and Gray. Saying that though, I do think United will win the game. I think it will be 2-0 United. And obviously no Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, which is a massive loss for Everton, of course. But if they can keep Gray and Townsend quiet, who've both contributed in goals and assists this season, I think United will get a comfortable 2-0 victory.
Fair play. Rob, what's your thoughts, mate?
I'm going to go 2-2, So, I mean, I had the great pleasure of watching all of and listening to all of Man United's excuses as to why they didn't win, which was, very entertaining. It was offside and it was all this and all that. And, they had the players injured. And of course, that's the only reason why Bruno missed the penalty, which is still rising. I mean, even last night, I think they scraped through the match against Villarreal, who were the better side. I'm going to say a bit of a controversial point. I reckon Man United are a better team-wise without Ronaldo playing. Because coming from a Villa fan,
statement, that Rob.
Coming from a Villa fan, I got for so many years. You're a one player team with Grealish. I think maybe is that starting to happen with United? Are some players almost not performing to the levels they should be because they know Ronaldo's going to bail them out? Because he's that player always going to come up with a goal most of the time. So you almost think, okay, well, maybe if we go a goal down, it's not going to be the end of the world because Ronnie's going to come back and get two in the last 10 minutes. So I think almost that they kind of excuse themselves sometimes. I think Everton they're on average getting 2 goals a game at the moment as well. Having some great talent with Townsend and Gray, Digne, Decore in the middle as well. I think it's going to be 2-2. They've got Maguire and Shaw out. Last night, Danjuma pulled them this way and that way, which I think Townsend and Gray have the potential to do. I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. I've gone for a 2-1 Man U win, just nicking it. And that man who's for some reason come back to Man United and scoring all the goals from again, Ronaldo will probably just nick it again in the last minute like last night. Yeah. It's Ronaldo.
He's just lethal, isn't he?
He's just lethal.
The best in the business for me.
Growing up as a kid, I went down and watched him when he was playing at 18 at Walkers and just thinking, where this player come from, what a player he is, and fair play to him. He's gone away, done it in other countries, and now come back to finish his career and a bit of a paycheck for him. If he can get them a title, then it's probably tops him off, to leave Man United at the end of next season. At least he's won something for them. Yeah. So what were you saying out there, guys? I think it says 2-1 to Man U, a 3-1 United win. A lot of Leicester fans saying Rodgers out, but try not to.
Yeah, there you go.
Brutal, isn't it? Brutal.
No, win the FA Cup last year, 2 fifth-place finishes, but it's Rodgers out after a poor start to the season. Behave.
I mean, whenever I think of Leicester, I always think of you stealing Harvey Barnes off us halfway through a season, so I'm still bitter about that.
Steal or take back our property. It's one of those.
Yeah.
He's still got up, though. Yeah.
Not that season, the following season.
Jack says a 2-1 United. That's all those ones. We then go to the second game of the weekend. Burnley still looking for a
massive
win.
game.
It's a big one, isn't it?
Still looking for their first win. I sit here after last week's performance from Leicester as nicking a point in some ways after going 2-1 down and coming back to make it all, and then possibly could have lose it. And again, VAR was our friend this time, that Chris Wood was offside in those minutes. Another player that we nicked from West Brom, Chrissy Wood. But this is a game for both teams that is now already 7 games in, is a 6-pointer. It's a must win. Cole, what's your thoughts on this game, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It is an absolutely huge game at the bottom of the Premier League, isn't it? I've got a Norwich friend who I talk with quite regularly, and I look at their team, and I think from when they was in the Premier League last season, I think on paper it's a much stronger team. I think their problem this season is that they've brought in so many new players that I think when you bring in the amount that they have, it's always going to take time to gel. And speaking to my Norwich friend again last week, they seem to have changed systems to a system that they've never played under Daniel Farke before, and he's been there a few years. And I think when you start to doing that, it is a bit of a concern when you're moving away from what is tried and trusted a little bit, certainly in the Championship. So, like I said, I think they've got a good team paper. Burnley without a win in 9 Premier League games, which is a long time, of course. So 2 poor teams, if we're being quite honest. I've gone for a 1-1 draw, Norwich to get their first point of the season. I think it's probably a result that neither team wants, because both need 3 points in this game. But I think the points will be shared.
Rob,
I'm going Burnley 1-0. 1-0 for this one. Norwich already looking to be in danger. I don't think really they've learnt from last relegation, even though they have spent more. Probably not the right sort of players. I think wasn't one of the most expensive signings Gibson as well. So I mean that tells you what you need to know about that. Burnley, I think, looking short on goals again. Chris Wood's got 1 in 6 for him. And I mean, last year he was their top scorer. I think they were unlucky to lose Max Cornet, or Cornet, however you want to say that. He looked a real spark for him, but he went off injured in during half time. So I think all sort of sparks gone out the game. I think it's going to be a real battle. But yeah, Burnley 1-0 Chris Wood winner. Yeah, I mean, Burnley can't hold on to a lead at the moment, but I think not even Norwich can beat them at the moment. So that's a 1-0 Burnley win.
See, I'm going for a big home win here. I'm going for a 3-1 Burnley win. I've just got a feeling. I haven't seen both these teams, and we've played both them this season. Norwich just look once again a Championship club having their season out in the Premier League for a season. They'll go back down, win the Championship, put it back in the locker, come back up, then go back down again. They have no desire to spend any big money in the Premier League. What's a shame to their fan base. They do travel well, and they always sell out their away allocation. And if I was a Norwich fan, I'd be very frustrated with Dean missing the board, that you've been up that many times, you've not got any debt, but you don't really want to put any money into the football club in the space of, 6 seasons now. They've been up 3 times. There's plenty of money now floating around at that football club. They could have spent a little bit more than Ben Gibson is your prime star man for the summer signings. Burnley, as we say last week, Cornell for them was absolutely quality on the left-hand side for them before he went off. His goal against a superb volley, really top-to-top player, and looks one for the future for them. Be gutted for them not to have him in the team this week, but I still think they've got enough height and strength. Vidra was a handful in most of the game for our centre halves. Chris Wood, well, we know what he's about. Get the ball in the box and he'll be an absolute pest in and around wherever you put it, to his feet or to his head. And I just think this is the game where Burnley will just start to probably get that first win and click it. And I don't think Burnley will go down this year. I still think they've got enough about them to stay in the Premier League, but they'll have to scrap. And this is the game for me where they've got to win. And I think it will be a game they will win. So I'm going for a 3-1 Burnley win. 0-0. The paint's drying on this one for Jack, I think. Josh says 2-0 to Burnley. Fee says a 1-1 draw. It's a tricky one for both these teams. The pressure's going to be on them. A 2-1 Burnley win. 2-0 Burnley win. 0-0, another 0-0. God, it's not going to be. It's going to be
a thriller. This one, isn't it?
Last on match of the day. This one's going to be if it's 0-0. We then go to an interesting tie. A Chelsea team who have just lost in the Champions League to a Southampton team who started the season okay, but have had a couple of poor results, and now we're starting to see that the struggle once again from Ralph Hootelhausen, I can't pronounce his name at this time of night. He's really struggled the last couple of seasons at the beginning of the year, and seemed to then pull it through at the back end. And maybe this year the fans might not stick with him as long as they've done the last couple of seasons. Carl, what's your thoughts on this clash in London?
Yeah, I think it's a simple Chelsea win here. I've gone at a 4-1 Chelsea win. I think what strikes me with Southampton is they never seem to have a plan B. I think it's either this high aggressive playing style or nothing really. And when it's nothing, we've seen how badly they can lose football matches. Chelsea obviously off the back of a disappointing result in the Champions League last night against Juventus, but Southampton without a win in the league this season at all. I've actually predicted them to be relegated this season. I think that without Ings, I think they will really, really struggle. As much as I like Armstrong, I think he's a good striker. I think it's a lot of burden to carry for him to try and keep them up. But yeah, for me, I've gone for a Chelsea 4-1 win at Stamford Bridge.
4-1. Rob?
I've gone Chelsea 2-0. Obviously Chelsea losing to Man City and then again last night to Juventus. I looked at a few of the stats from last night's game. They had one shot on target, and they had 0 shots on target last week against City. For a team that have Lukaku and Werner for the attacking options they do, for some reason they can't get to get these shots off. But I think Tuchel is such a fantastic manager. He will adapt the style. He'll do something where they're going to be more direct once again. Even though they're in maybe a very small blip at the moment, he'll get them out of that. No worries. Southampton. You can see now they're starting to really miss Danny Ings. Yeah, but I mean they also got 2 good draws against City and West Ham as well. But I mean, they were 0-0s, so I mean, they're not particularly, like a 1-1 or a 2-2. Something where they're not scoring goals now. And I mean, they lost 1-0 to Wolves, which they haven't been particularly flying either. So I'm going to go Chelsea 2-0. Tuchel's going to change up the system and get the goals for them.
2-0. I've gone for a 3-0 win for Chelsea. Obviously, couple of poor results, if we're honest here, and they didn't play well in either of the games against Man City and Juventus the other night. But having what I've seen from them this season, Lukaku is the player they were lacking of last year, that focal point, the build-up play, the person who can turn and run at defenders, but also can hold it up and lay it off. Timmy Werner, what can you say about him? He's starting to look a bit more sharper now that he's got someone to play off when he does come onto the pitch in the last 20 minutes in games, and looks fit as a fiddle, and he looks more confident about it than compared to last year. And we played him in the final in the FA Cup, and he had so many good chances in that game where he should have really killed us off before Tielemans scored. It was a completely different game up to that point. So I've gone 3-0. I think Chelsea will see this one out. As you say, Southampton losing Danny Ings, what was a quality signing for Villa for me. It's that probably the point you were missing last year. Ollie Watkins were doing the business, but you needed that second striker to play in and around him. And I think them two playing together is pretty deadly in this league. It's a very good combination. For me, Southampton, they're another club who spent wisely. Armstrong's a good little signing, but he's a 25, 30 goals in the Championship. He's not 30 goals in the Premier League. It's a lot more difficult. He scored on the opening day away at Everton, what was a great finish, even though Keane basically passed it to him. It was a good finish in the box. It'll be a tricky season for Southampton. I really feel that they're going to be fighting this year down there to stay in the Premier League, and it'll be an interesting one. Chelsea 3-0. Someone said a 5-4 Burnley, by the way. We'll take that. That'll be top of match of the day, by the way. 1-0 Southampton. They've got some good results over the year at the Bridge, by the way. They have picked up some good results. 1-0 Southampton again.
What?
Leicester fans are having it. Keith Goddard says a 4-1 Chelsea. I think we're going there.
If you're a Southampton fan, this is probably the time that you want to play them, though, isn't it? Off the back of two losses, but that's suppose they're good time to play Chelsea.
You can tell Leicester fans are commentating on this, by the way. Missing Ings, but not missing Vestergaard. 2-0 Chelsea. There's a lot of sourness tonight. We then move on to Yorkshire. A Leeds team are still looking for the first win. I didn't think by round 7 that we'd be saying that after their brilliant season last year. They were playing some fantastic football at times and really showed why they'd come up from the Championship, the way they played, out-fought in teams, out-working teams. So this year, it's fans back in the ground, and it's not really going that well for them. Against a Watford team who got a great win on the opening day of the season against Villa. Probably Villa would say they'd had another 10 minutes, they would have come back and draw that game, I think, by the sounds of it. And then picked up a good point last weekend against Newcastle, and were very unlucky not to win it with a VAR decision in the 91st minute with Josh King scoring. Carl, what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, strange, isn't it? I think last season when we saw Leeds in the Premier League, obviously with no fans, we all thought, obviously brilliant side and had a great season. I think we all thought as soon as fans would come back in stadiums, we know how passionate and loud the Leeds fans are, that it would propel them to perhaps another level. But yeah, we're still waiting to see that this season, aren't we? Which, like you suggested, it just hasn't clicked this season for whatever reason. I do think Leeds will get the win here. I think they'll just nick it. I've gone for a 2-1 Leeds win. Bamford is going to be a huge miss for them in the coming weeks. I'm not sure how long he's out for. But I've said previously, I think Patrick Bamford is an exceptional striker and suits that system so well. And I think they will struggle in the next couple of weeks for them. But I do think they will get the win against Watford here. And the key players in the game, of course, are going to be Rafinha and Sarr. They've both started the season really, really well. Big fans of the both of them. And I'm confident by the end of the season, I think both clubs will be in the Premier League next season. But for this particular game, I'll go for Leeds 2, Watford 1.
Rob, what's your thoughts, mate?
I'm going to go 1-1. I reckon it's going to be a draw. Where's this Elland Road that I keep hearing of, and the fans, they're the best in the league. And
now, just because you had a spat in a game before the end of a season.
Oh right? No, it's not even that.
You want to let teams score.
It's just that was just fair play. I mean, come on. If you want to cheat, then they can cheat. That's fine. Don't worry. But honestly, where's this sort of added level and bonus from the fans? Not seeing it so far. I think it's easy to say, second season syndrome, and I mean, what with 6 games in as well. Although, I knew there would be a time maybe if Leeds were starting to get worked out by other teams, maybe. I know Man United did it last year when they scored like 2 in the first 2 minutes or whatever it was there. I think they were unlucky to not get any, to not get at least a point anyway from West Ham last week, with a bit of a deflection for the goal as well. Although Leeds haven't also kept a clean sheet yet. I think coming up against the Watford with Sarr and even Dennis as well. I think he's a threat on the other wing. The battle will be on the wings with Rafinha, Sarr, and Dennis there. And like you said as well, Leeds missing Bamford, that's a big one. But hopefully Rafinha will Wolves take the work rate up for them that Bamford would have provided. But yeah, 1-1. I think we'll see some very good football, but it'll just the two goals scored there for a 1-1.
1-1. I'm going for a Ledesma. I'm going 2-2. I think, like you say, you picked out the key players. Lassar, Rafinha for me is an absolute workhorse, and what a player he looks in this league. He's a class act for me, and he's dragged Leeds at times, probably this season, to getting points out of games. Also, the cycling GK, is he going to have a masterclass? Ben Foster, the cycling. I was going to say West Brom fans love him, Ben Foster, the cycling GK. Come on, cycling GK, get us on the show. We need you. But yeah, masterclass from him. I love watching the cycling GK. Absolutely brilliant things to watch. Really, and I see the Leicester Science Shoe was made an appearance the other day on this program, so it's great to see him on there. Let's see what you're all saying. This one, Watford to win 2-1. Leeds overrated.
Overrated, yeah.
Goodall says a 2-2 draw. The dirty Leeds to win 2-0.
Yeah,
Leeds up the antics at a 3-1. Fee says 1-1. Palace, Sarr and Dennis are the ballers. Yeah, totally agree. They are the players. A 2-2. Ross says a 2-1 Leeds. Haseen says a 3-2. I mean, some big scores this weekend if these are the case. This is going to be a cracking match of the day.
Match of the day is going to be
We then move on to Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Newcastle. Two teams who are really in desperate need of another win. Wolves got a win in their last game at Southampton was massive. Considering I've seen 3 of their 4-5 games this season against us, they should have beaten us on the opening day. If Torres could score, they would be a different team, but the boy cannot put the ball in the onion bag at any point. Again, another player I think is very overrated, very quick, but that's for me all about him. He can run past players for fun, but he's got no end product and he can't score. So that's where Sarr and Rafinha are the difference to me. They have an end product to the game if it's a goal or an assist. What's your thoughts on this one, Carl? It's a big game for both clubs, really, and Steve Bruce doesn't want a cabbage thrown at his head.
Great times. Yeah, obviously, being a West Brom fan, I hear a lot about Wolves as they're just down the road. And pains me to say, I think they're playing some really, really good football this season. I don't think their results have been really sort of matched up to where they are in terms of they're playing football. And you know what? I think that last week against Southampton, I thought we saw a little bit more quality on the front foot from them. I know I absolutely agree with you about Traore. I think if he did have an end product, whether that be a cross that actually reaches someone in gold and black, or whether he could put the ball in the net, I think he would be one of the best players in the world, personally, because, you know, if he had that end product, his raw pace and his strength is unplayable on time. So great to see Jimenez get his first goal last season from the neutral perspective. Since the horrific injury that he had, of course, and it wouldn't surprise me now if we saw a little bit of a purple patch from him to really try and kick Wolves on. Captain in my fantasy league as well last season, which last game, which was a bold choice, but it worked. With regards to Newcastle, I mean, going back right to the start of the season, they had an absolutely awful transfer window, I think. Obviously, keeping Willock was important, but they've lost a lot of players who may not have played every week, but you could argue that their squad is actually weaker now than it was last season because of the some of the squad depth that they've lost. I do think they will survive just because it's Steve Bruce. He knows how to do it. Wilson and Lascelles are both missing, which are big players for Newcastle, not just in terms of quality, but leaders on the pitch as well. I've gone for, regrettably, a Wolverhampton Wanderers 1-0 win.
1-0 to the Wolves. Rob, what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, I'm going to say Wolves 2-1. I think they'll win in this one. Against Southampton, Wolves had 3 shots on goal. And if you're only getting a minimal amount of shots, you want someone like Jimenez taking, on the ball instead of someone like Traore. I mean, even going back to when talking about Villa now, when we were against Middlesbrough in the playoff semi-final, when we didn't eventually go up, and a little bit worried about Traore, but I mean, yeah, he had the pace to run down the wings, and then he sort of got to the end and he was like, well, what do I do? And then he would just get tackled or just pass the ball off. And yeah, And I mean, you could see because Large benched Traore last game, started Jimenez up front and in the more central, and there you go, he scored. I think for Newcastle, Watford could have won their last game, but Newcastle should have won that game. They had the more chances, but they're just lacking that clinical edge. They're missing, as you say, Callum Wilson. It's getting that threadbare. That Jarlington's out wide, Maximan's up front for him. I saw someone here say he can't carry them for much longer. He won't be enough for them to just carry them just on his own. He can do all these tricks, but I mean, if he gets snapped, by say Ben Mee or Tarkowski or someone, if he goes down, you're missing Wilson, you're missing Maximan. Who goes up for them? Jarlington, Almiron.
Dwight Gale.
Dwight Gale, yeah. Oh God, yeah. Dwight Gale. Okay, you have to bring him back in, did you? Yeah, and yeah. I mean, Newcastle currently conceding 2 every game. I think this will be another 2 conceded from Wolves to Newcastle 1.
2-1. I've gone for a 2-0 Wolves win. I just think Newcastle can't carry on relying on, as you say, Wilson, St. Maximum to carry them. The goals from Joe Willock at the end of last season have dried up very quickly after his permanent move there from Arsenal. And I think they all thought that he'd come in and be the goal scorer from this season, but he's not got off the mark yet. So tricky game, but I think Wolves have played well enough season that they'll pull away quite quickly now and get higher up the league. Johnny says a 1-0 Wolves win, Newcastle to go down, 2-1 to Wolves, Newcastle 1-0 win, Carl says. Adam only shows up on FIFA. We all sign him on FIFA. He plays. Wolves are playing well. 2-0 win. Wolves hot and cold, at same as Newcastle. Born 0-0.
Yeah.
So Maximum can't carry much Newcastle for much longer. Ross Howe says a 1-0 Wolves win. So I think most have got the feeling that Wolves are going to nick this one. They then go to the last game of the Saturday session. A Brighton team who have been a breath of fresh air in this league this season. They were playing good football last year and probably weren't getting the rub of the green, and they were missing a goal scorer this year. They're getting goals from all over the pitch and they are flying. Monday's performance against Crystal Palace will give them even more confidence to nick it right at the end, and especially against your local rivals, however that works out when one's in London and one's on the coast. I'd never get that to the derby, but whatever they want to call a derby for them teams. As West Ham have just gone 1-0 up, and Declan Rice has scored in the Europa League.
Nice.
Carl, what's your thought on this one, mate? Brighton versus Arsenal.
Yeah, Brighton have been fantastic this season, as you mentioned, and they play this spreadsheet football, as it's been called before, where they're all about XG and getting the ball into specific areas where they're about to, where they feel like they're they're most likely to score a goal. Essentially, defensively very solid this season, and I've always been impressed with Brighton. I think when I watched them against us last season, and whilst we were terrible, it was one of the few games that we did actually win, and. Is everything all right?
I'm just watching this. Sorry, lads. West Ham have scored, and at the point of them scoring, the Sparta Prague fans are now jumped the barrier and are now scrapping with the West Ham fans in the corner next to the away fans. The police are all diving in, and water bottles are being thrown, and pint glasses and everything by the looks of it. That's just watching what was going on the screen. Sorry about that, Cole.
No problem at all. So as I was saying, I think Brighton are very defensively sound, and as I was saying, they came to our place last season and they missed 2 penalties, and I think their XG was something like 6, and we won the game 1-0 somehow, and that summed up their season last season. They were very, very good, created lots of chances, played some lovely football, but just could not put the ball in the back of the net. And that's changed a little bit this year, whilst they haven't particularly strengthened in the attacking third. It just seems to have clicked a little bit more for them, and defensively, as I say, very good, with the resurgence of Duffy alongside Duncan, either Veltman or Webster. So in terms of Arsenal, I think they're going to be full of confidence, of course, after winning the North London derby quite convincingly. I had Arsenal down to finish 5th this year, and I got a lot of stick for that. But I do think without them playing in Europe, I think everyone forgets that they're not playing in Europe this season. They're going to have a week between matches most weeks. And I think Arteta's had a poor start to the season. Don't get me wrong, but I think Arsenal will finish in the Europa League this season. For this game, I've gone for a 0-0. I couldn't choose a winner here. Arsenal can do an Arsenal at any moment. and I don't think Brighton will be beaten by them, if I'm honest. So I've gone for a boring 0-0 draw.
Hopefully it's not on Sky. What's your thoughts, Rob?
Well, I'm going to go Brighton 2, Arsenal 0. I think they'll do it, because it always depends what Arsenal turn up, and it has been that way for years. Morpay's started on great form. I think his poor form was the reason why Brighton were in trouble, and they felt like they needed a striker. They didn't need a striker. They needed Morpay back on form with confidence. You can see he's confident now. I don't know if you watched his post-match interview after the Palace game, but you can see he's full of confidence. He's a bit of a shithouse, and he loves it. Yeah, and the way it is why he explained his goal, and he was saying he could see the ball coming over to him, and he was only one sort of on the front foot. The defenders were all lead-footed and didn't realise the ball was coming over to him. Caught the keeper off. He knew the weakness of the keeper, that you can't really jump backwards in a sense. He's back on form now. So I'm Brighton, and I know last season Arsenal beat them twice, but the season before Brighton did the double over them, and they were great matches to watch as well. Yeah, I mean, Graham Potter's done brilliant, been nominated for Manager of the Month, but so has Mikel Arteta. They've seemed to have turned the corner now. I mean, they beat Tottenham, but I mean, anybody could have beaten that Tottenham side in the first half. They were statues defending for the first 2 goals, and got so easily caught on the counter for that, for the third goal. Although now they're missing Xhaka in the middle, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for Arsenal. I mean, sometimes he does good, sometimes good, sometimes maybe shit, as our friend Gattuso said. However, yeah, like Kane wasn't in the game against Arsenal, so I mean, Morpay's at the moment. Morpay's he's a different class above Harry Kane, so that's going to give him a bit more of a test. I think Potter's going to outthink Arteta. And you know what? I think Brighton will do the double over Arsenal again this season. So that will be a 2-0 win to Brighton over Arsenal.
2-0. Big call, that one is.
Yeah,
I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a close game. As you said, Brighton's had good results over the last couple of years, and Arsenal will go there probably a bit nervous. Probably stuff a test in the last couple, beating Norwich and then beating a Tottenham team who are on a proper downer at the moment. But Brighton at home, the fans behind them are going to really give Arsenal a game, and I'm going for a 1-1. Ross Howard says a 1-1 draw. Chris says a 2-0 Brighton, flying, yes. 2 goals flying.
Yes.
Cole says a 2-2. John says, can't stand Mopay, but I want Brighton to win this one. He is what he is, a proper shithouse. He is. He just is. He's that player.
I love it.
He's the Robbie Savage of Brighton, let's put it that way. He just winds people up.
Yeah.
Brighton to win 2-0 versus the Arsenal. Dave says a 2-2 draw. That'd be a good game on a Saturday afternoon. We'll then go to the Saturday fixtures. I mean, you put ours on there. Why is ours? We've got to say I've moved it. It's Palace versus Leicester. What can we say about this one? Leicester looking to try and get back to winning ways after a draw against Burnley, a loss against Legia Walsall tonight in the Europa League. Are really trying to find some kind of form, and at the moment it's not coming from anywhere on the pitch. The players have lost the confidence of last season, where we're flying even to the back end, where it didn't go away, and missing out on Champions League football against Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace team, who have played some nice stuff at times. Let's give them due. They are playing a different way to the standard Palace. Let's just hit and hope it forward to the big man and get a flick on for Zaha or Ayew. They are trying to play through the lines. They play a different brand of football. What's your thought then on Palace versus Leicester, Cole?
Well, I need to be careful because it's a Leicester.
Let's be honest, the fans are already going back to the night. So
no, I've gone down for a 1-1 draw here. obviously, you guys are looking for your first win in the league since beating Norwich in August. And it's just not clicking for you at the minute, is it? It's not at all. And I think a big and obviously you're more qualified to tell me otherwise, but I feel like the whole Maddison absence and him being out of the team with what's happening in the background / lack of form, I think is having a big impact on you guys. People like Harvey Barnes, I know he had a bad injury towards the end of last season. Is he got up and running yet? There's issues there. The positive for you guys, I would suggest at the moment, is Vardy does seem to be in a little bit of good form. Obviously, I don't think he's played tonight, has he? He's probably been rested for this game. But I think that Vardy coming into form will be big for you guys. He always does it. We know what he's like. He's a Premier League goal scorer, so he should make sure that you guys have a good season. In terms of Crystal Palace, everyone knows such a big turnover of players, similar to Norwich this summer. A lot of older players leaving the club, the likes of Scott Dang, Gary Cahill, I think McCarthy or MacArthur, one of them left. The brothers, who cares? And a lot of experienced players have left basically, and they replaced them with a lot of younger players, people who played in the Championship last season. The likes of Elise, Joachim Anderson, who was at Fulham in the Premier League last season, Conor Gallagher, who was with us last season, who was doing really well for Palace, it seems. So I think the recruitment has been good, and as you quite rightly say, Tom, I think they've been playing some good football. I can't separate it. I'm sorry to sit on the fence, but I've gone for Crystal Palace 1, Leicester 1, which is probably not the result you guys need.
I'd take a point at the moment, mate, be honest, the way we're playing it. By the way, Vardy did play 10 minutes tonight, but we all know Vardy's just hoping that you boys can come back up because he does love a goal at the Hawthorns.
Mate, I've said some bad things to Jamie Vardy from the West Ham stand. I can tell you that. I've said some bad things.
He loves the goal. I don't know what you boys have done.
He does, and he cups his ear to us every time, and it makes me hate him even more.
Even in an empty stadium in COVID, he did it as well. What made it even more funny. What's your thoughts on this one, Rob?
I'm going Leicester 3, Palace 1. I reckon they'll turn it around. Rodgers, he'll do something in the back room and give him a kick up the arse or whatever. I reckon Vardy will get at least 1 or 2 goals for you and everything because he's been rested tonight. Go back to Palace. They should have won their last game against Brighton 2-0, and obviously they came back. It was 1-1. They've got a very dangerous attack. Everyone's waiting for the link up between Elise, Eze, Zaha, Edwards, or however you say his name. He's got a real eye for goal. 2 goals in 10 minutes when he came on in his debut.
Yep.
Although I think they are inconsistent at the moment because they beat Spurs 3-0 and then lost to Liverpool 3-0 the week after. I won't lecture you on how Leicester have played, obviously, because you all know that. But yeah, I think Leicester to win 3-1. Vardy's going to keep up his form. I reckon Tillmans is going to have a great game for some reason. It will be a good battle in the middle between him and Gallagher, someone also taken from West Brom.
Always the victims. Always the victims.
Yeah. You play a victim. Defenders, they need to keep the head as well with Zaha because you can see he's got a bit of a temper and he got Taganga sent off against for Spurs. But yeah, I think Palace have shown they can go to sleep like when Maupay got that 95th minute goal. So even if it's a case, it comes down to a bit of an injury time goal from Vardy, I think he might copy a bit of a Maupay action there and get you that last minute winner if it's drawing 2-1 or whatever. But yeah, drawing 2-1, drawing 1-1 or 2-2, whatever.
That's a new one.
That's a good one, isn't it?
We'll take that.
But yeah, Leicester 3-1.
I'm going for a 2-1. I'm going to say we're going to nick it right at the end. And for me, the man who has to start at the weekend is the player who got the most goals for us last year, who got kicked out of Poland before he even got to cross the border and had to come home. And that's Kelechi Iheanacho. The boy's been on fire again this season. 2 goals, 2 assists. Looked absolutely brilliant against Napoli and set up Harvey Barnes' goal in the second half. And for me, he's got to be somewhere in that team. And at the moment, for some reason, Rodgers just can't get him in the team. And we look such a different team with an Iheanacho playing. even when he's not on the most sharpest of player. And we all know Nacho can have hit and miss games, but when he's sharp, he is sharp, and the boy can score. He scored a great goal against Palace last year, thunderbolt into the top corner in a home game. And I think he could be just the vocal point when we need. And I'll look at with VAR's decisions. They've got to turn at some point this year. And I've just got a feeling that Saturday might be one of those. We just get one of those decisions to go our way. So I'm going to go 2-1. This could be interesting to see what Leicester fans are going to say.
Put them on. Let's see what's going on.
He says 3-1 to Leicester.
Yes.
Here's the first one. 5-1 to Palace. I want a dodgy VAR decision.
Wow.
1-0 City. Vardy Eagle dance again in front of the goal. He's another shit house of football. Vardy,
yeah, he is.
Palace 0, Leicester 4. I'm on my 5th point.
Yeah.
Ross says, I think it'll be 2-1 to Leicester. Vardy to nick it and do his Eagle celebration again.
I think you
2-1 to Palace. Someone says it's going to be an interesting weekend if this doesn't go our way. I'll tell you that. We then go to Tottenham Hotspur versus Aston Villa. The Tottenham team who they were getting the nickname of the second Gooners team with their 1-0 wins at the beginning of the season, but sadly Nuno's been found out and it's gone pear-shaped after 2 3-0 defeats. I'm not sure how they're getting on tonight in the Conference League, is it something now we're going to call it? Another European competition just to get Spurs into Europe. Against a Villa team who have had a couple of hit and miss results. The game against Everton, they look very, very good. And Leon Bailey, for me, what a signing. When you signed him, I was very jealous. I think he's a very talented young man who's got a lot of pace to burn. And with you now having not one striker, but 2 in Watkins and Danny Ings, it's a very interesting team now for them. And you lost your Grealish in the summer, the one-man band, as we will call him. But I honestly feel you've gained 3 or 4 quality players to make you an even better team than you were before. What's your thoughts on this one, Cole?
It's annoying to see the rise of Aston Villa. It really is. You know what? I'll start off this by saying I do think Villa will finish above Leicester this season, might be a bit bold.
I'm going to sit here and agree with you on that. The way we've started, unless we can click quickly, it's going to be a long season for us boys. I can tell you that now.
I just think that there's, you guys, without touching on you guys too much in a Villa prediction, but I think you guys have had this, so many years now of getting so close. Obviously, you've done fantastically in the last couple of seasons, but you've been so close to, Champions League football. And I just think after not achieving when you've come so close to something and not got there for a couple of years, I think it can weigh down on you a little bit. And I think Villa are very much a club on the up who are aspiring to be where you've got to in terms of your league positioning. So, and Villa have recruited fantastically this summer. And if anyone needs guidance on what to do when you sell your best player for a lot of money, then look at Aston Villa because they have brought in some fantastic players. In terms of the game, perhaps controversially, I might not get some people agreeing with me, but I've gone for a 1-1 draw. Again, sitting on the fence. This will be a great point for Spurs if they can get one after the North London derby disappointment. I think for them, the Kane situation is a massive, massive worry. You can tell in his body language that he's not there really. He's not giving his all like he did for however many seasons he's been there. I went on a bit of a rant on our Premier League preview podcast, which you guys featured on, by the way, so thank you for that. But I went on a bit of a rant about Tottenham, and I just thought there was an absolute farce. I think I was a bit concerned about my prediction when Nuno started so well off at Tottenham, but it's coming back to where I expected it to be. I think he had a really poor season with Wolves last season, and it just didn't make sense for me for Tottenham to hire him as the manager. Obviously, they were scrambling for a manager in the end, wasn't they? So I think Pete from number 3 down the road will have taken the job if no one else would have. But yeah, in terms of Villa, will be a tough test. I think still coming up against a good Tottenham team, but obviously just severely lacking in form here. Bailey, unfortunately injured. I think everyone wants to see a little bit more of Leon Bailey after his. Who did you play? Was it Everton, Rob? Who he got the goal against and the assist? Jerry was sensational, but unfortunately injured for this one. Hopefully back in a couple of weeks. But I've gone for Tottenham Hotspur 1, Aston Villa 1.
Rob,
without being biased, I probably would have said it anyway.
Without being biased,
Villa 1, Tottenham 0. I don't even particularly think we'll nick it. I think we'll, in the same way, I don't think we particularly nicked the result from Man United either. Even though it was an 88th minute, like 1-0, we were in the game the whole way through. I think it'll be another case. We'll be in that game the whole way through, and then whenever we get the goal, I don't think it will be like a smash and grab like that. With Harry Kane, he does look very disinterested. Doesn't look like he's there really. I saw, even a few clips of him. He doesn't look like he could pass, shoot, or dribble at some points, which is quite weird. At the moment, I think they've got the lowest in the Prem for attacking stats. Tottenham have, which again, with like England's best striker, it's quite strange. But yeah, if he's not there, mentally he doesn't seem interested. Seems very disillusioned with Tottenham. You touched on Ings and Watkins being quite dangerous. Actually, at the moment, they're quite. It's not really clicked with those two yet, because Ollie's always sort of played as a one striker or a bit of a winger. We could have scored more against Man United, but they just need to know when to pass to each other right, and it'll click eventually. But yeah, Nuno should really give him a rocket up the arse this week. But he should have done for the North London derby as well, which he obviously didn't, or there was some sort of miscommunication. But we saw how poor they were. And I think selling Grealish, we look a very good team overall now, and I do fancy.
You look a more balanced team, don't you?
Yeah. I do fancy our chances now against teams. I'm not going to say we're going to beat Man City and Chelsea. I don't mean that, but Chelsea, even though they beat us 3-0, it was a close game. I know that sounds stupid, but it was. I reckon we'll comfortably get a 1-0. Yeah.
1-0. I've gone for a 2-0 Villa. I really do think you boys will get the result this weekend. I think you've been playing well enough. You got the rub of the green last weekend at Man United, but you played well then. You had enough chances. Matt Targett could put the ball in the net when he had the chance. It was a massive chance in the game. You probably would have seen that out. So let's see what everyone else says. 2-1 Villa, 7-0 Spurs.
Nice.
3-1 Villa win, 4-0 Villa win. Watkins. Harry Kane.
Bailey to score, even though he's injured.
Kane will turn up, but for the WWE, not for Spurs. Jono says 2-1 Villa. Cash again. I like Cash. Cash is a very good player. I was jealous when you boys
Polish Cafu.
The Polish Cafu. Can't get an England team, so I'm going to play for Poland. I like it. We then go to West Ham versus Brentford, a London derby. Brentford, again, who've been brilliant. Another team who's come up from the Championship in their first season and really have muscled the way in. They're not scared to, really fight for this league, to stay in this league this year. And I think if you look at Norwich, that's what they haven't got. They haven't got a fighting spirit. They haven't got brawlers and people who really want to put the shirt on the line to stay in the Premier League. And if you do that, you'll stay in it. Brentford have done it against a West Ham team who are flying again. Last season, they were good. This year, they're even better. And they're winning tonight in Europe. They're playing week, Monday, Saturday at the moment. They're flying. What's your thought on this, Carl?
Tough game to predict this one. This was probably one of the ones that I found really difficult to predict because both teams are in quite good form. On our Premier League preview podcast, I said that Brentford would finish bottom, and that's coming back to bite me on the bum a little bit. I do think West Ham will win the game 2-1. I think they're to get their third Premier League win on the bounce against like I said, an informed Brentford team. Antonio is now fit and firing again, and I think he will cause problems for the Brentford backline. But I do have to say that Brentford defensively have been very, very good so far. I know they conceded 3 against Liverpool, but aside from that, I think they've been reasonably tight. I do expect their early season form to fade eventually. It's always going to be a survival battle for them this season. They might still go down. It's obviously very early to say. But for this particular game, I've gone for West Ham 2, Brentford 1. And probably Tony will get another goal because he's looking a very, very good player in this league.
Rob, what's your thoughts, mate?
I'm going to agree. West Ham 2-1 win over Brentford. Yeah, and I mean, we all know how good Antonio has been so far. I reckon he'll get a goal or two. If not, I think Souček's in the goals again. He did score, but it was ruled out last game. They've got talent all over the park as well, out wide with Kufal and people like that. Yeah, they're looking very good, and I'm almost a little bit jealous as well because I mean that could have been us. I think maybe last season, so some stages anyway. But yeah, it is good. It is good to see for maybe middle sort of middle team club to do so well. It gives everyone a bit of a bit of inspiration, a bit of hope. That you can push on and go through this glass ceiling. But yeah, I mean Brentford also in form as well. They were a bit of a surprise package, a bit of an unknown. Everyone said, that they played really well and very good in the Championship, but could they do it in the Premier League? And so far they are. Good defence. I didn't think I would say that with Pontus Jansson in the side, but I mean he's doing well. Raya as well, brilliant keeper. Yeah, I think it's going to be the battle between Tony and Antonio. Those two look on it, so it's just whoever outscores the other, to be honest. But I think West Ham's going to edge it 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah,
it's a hat trick of 2-1s because that's where I've gone tonight as well. I went 2-1.
Yeah.
It's a very, very close game, this one. It's too hard to separate. West Ham flying, even after losing Lingard, who really bumped them up the league at the back end of the season. It was a great loan signing for them. They've come back this year, and I think the big question was how would they do without him? Well, Antonio's filling his boots with goals this year. They destroyed us 4-1 in our second game of the season and made us look like little boys on the pitch. They footballed us, they scored us. With Declan Rice in the middle of the park, is a brawler. They're not scared to get tackles in. It's a very good West Ham team, and they've got so many options to come off the bench. Brentford, like I said, have been brilliant so far. That result was a massive one on the opening day of the season to get a 2-0 win over the Arsenal. Really, really helped them confidence to settle into the league. Let's have a think what everyone else is saying then. So we've got 2-0 to the Hammers. Fee says 2-2. A 3-1 West Ham win. Ross says a 1-0 Brentford with Tony to get the Tony to score. Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger. No, that's good.
That's a good one.
We then go into the final game of the week 7, and what a way to finish the week before the international football returns. The doom and gloom of following England around the country for a bit of fun. And what a way to finish it. Liverpool versus Man City. The two title contenders for me were there with Chelsea this year, and it's going to be another tricky game to separate these two down the middle. What's your thought on this one, Carl?
Well, dare I say, I don't think Liverpool have got enough credit this season. We all know the problems that they had last season in the sense of, injuries absolutely crippling their back line. And subsequently that has, an impact further forward on the pitch as well. But top of the league as it stands at the moment, and a perfect start to the season really for them. Obviously looking solid at the back again with Van Dijk coming back into the team. Konate is now an option for them. Gomez is now getting fit. They seem to have a little bit of depth back there now, which is probably what they needed last season. But yeah, I just think it's such a tight game, this one. What I will say is it's been good to see Sadio Mane get back into his old self. I think last season he struggled a lot. I think we saw a little bit of that towards the early stages of this season. But he's gone back to the form which we know Sadio Mane to be. He's a quality player. And yeah, it's good to see him get back to form. In terms of Manchester City, obviously a disappointing Champions League performance against PSG on was it Tuesday night, I think. Tuesday night, yeah. So they'll be eager to bounce back with a win. I know I'm keeping you all in suspense here because I've gone for a Liverpool 1, Manchester City 0. I think City are going to have another off day, and I think Liverpool's form, which has been a little bit underrated this season, I think will carry them through to a win at Anfield, which will extend their lead at the top of the Premier League.
Fair play. Rob, what's your thought on the final game of week 7?
Well, I am going to go with a 0-0 draw because it's the big match. It's the last match of the game week. It's
true. The big games on Sky always finish 0-0.
Yeah.
Super Sunday, they call it.
Yeah. Super shite, more like. This one's gonna be this one's gonna be 0-0. Yeah, I mean, big matches in the league, they're either always crazy, like 5-2, or they're 0-0. It doesn't really seem to be, like any way in between normally. I think it'll almost be a bit of a chess game. I think they might probably cancel each other out. City did well to combat Chelsea, but I reckon maybe they'll get a little bit too confident to think, we could do this again against Liverpool, and I don't think they will. Yeah, it's good to see. Good to see Liverpool doing all right. Only for the fact because I absolutely love Thiago. I think he's a beautiful footballer. I just wanted to see him up and running and spraying balls about. That's the only reason I want Liverpool to even do well, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's just going to be 0-0.
0-0.
Pretty boring, and they'll cancel each other out.
Well, that'll send you to sleep on a Sunday afternoon, eh?
Yes, it will.
That way. I'm going to go through.
I think it's the West Ham and Brentford game. I think that will be the game of the day.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win. I just think that the return of Van Dijk's massive to Liverpool. They look a better unit all round at the back now with a leader in there and someone really commanding that defence. Gomez, well, we all know what he was like before his injury, and he's now coming back as good as he was before. The strength of depth in Liverpool's back to where it was when they were winning the league, and it's going to be a hard season to stop them for me. And I think Man City might be just fall a little short this year without signing a striker, and I think that might be their downfall. Let's get the last few scores in on this night. Ross Howes has got 0-0 written over it. He then follows up with the best tweet, the best comment of the night. This game will be about as fun as watching songs of praise. Oh, dear. If it finishes 3-3, Carl, the points are all going around it. John says 0-0. Fee says 1-1. A 2-1 City. 0-0. Everyone's going 0-0. And that brings us to the end of the week 7. I mean, what can we say? Carl, Rob, thank you so much for coming on. Rob's froze in disbelief of it.
He's
0-0. It needs 0-0.
Before we do go, I just want to
say where can we catch you boys anyway, by the way?
Yeah, thank you. Well, before I do mention that, I just want to say I'm a bit of a football kit enthusiast, and I do actually own a Leicester City football kit. So I just want to quickly show it off. It is the black kit for, I think, the season you have to win the league. And I went a little bit mad and had some printing and got Danny Drinkwater on the back, which was a little bit bold.
The season we won the league, mate, the black kit is.
Is it really?
It's the famous kit we wore at Man City, and we won 3-1. Robert Hoof with 2 goals that day.
Did Mahrez score as well?
That was the one.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't really wear this shirt, but I just wanted to show it off considering I was on a Leicester programme. So there we go. But in terms of the High Press, thank you for mentioning that. So you can follow us at the High Press Pod on Instagram and Twitter. We basically do a weekly podcast. We have a variety of guests on every week, from referees to players at non-league, Premier League. We have physios. We have
we've had a journalist on the last few weeks. Premier League doctor.
Head of medical.
So we've got some big names coming up. If only I could tell you. You'll have to wait.
Give it a follow, guys. Like I say, we have quite a few people on here. Give them a follow, guys. Good bunch of lads you've seen tonight. You're getting some good reactions on here already. Top guest Tom, red card for the green shirt though.
Oh. Okay.
Ask for your money back with a drink water on the back.
Wow.
I might do.
Lads, thank you for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we'll catch up with you soon, and we'll get you on again for your predictions at the end of the season for you guys. All right.
Would love to.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys. See you later. And there we go. Another week of predictions done. As I say, guys, thank you for coming on. It's been a long night for most of you Leicester fans who started watching at 5:45 for our watch along, and then we've carried on tonight. As always, remember, we're on every night of the week. Monday night is the fan show with Phil. We go back for a live reaction of what's gone off on the weekend. We then have the women's show with Jack, who does everything for Leicester City women. We then have a Wednesday night show with Jack again, bringing up the away fan show, looking at the away team, who we're going to get. Obviously, you've just watched the prediction show later time tonight, but back next in 2 weeks' time for a week off for me because of international duty. We'll have a really show tomorrow night as we build up to Crystal Palace is now, starting to fall in the category of a must-win to try and start our season off. We then have a watch along on Sunday now, obviously, as the game's end. But remember, Sunday morning, the biggest show of the week. We'll big it up for Jamie. The famous aftermath show, but it's a pre-match show, live from Alcudia, live from the Fox's Arms. Give it a show. You know what Jamie's like. He'll have his cup of tea and his toast ready to chat all things Leicester with you. But once again, thanks for joining us, guys. Thank you for getting your comments in, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.